Welcome to MTG Friends. I'm Ryan.
I'm Josh.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the difference between Zendikar Rising Draft booster boxes and the Zendikar Rising Set booster box.
Now, the set booster box is going to include a chance at cards from the list. This is a new thing that Wizards is throwing at us. They're reprints from Magic the Gathering's history, and they're just a little bit special.
Special indeed. So let's talk about what we do know and what we're used to. So the draft booster box is the normal 10 commons, 3 uncommons, 1 rare or mythic, and a token card. Now the set booster box is a whole different bag.
Yeah, it's just a non-standard mix of common and uncommons. The different rarities, it's the mix is weighted a little more towards the rare side and the mythic rares.
Right.
There are some percentages there.
Yeah, so it's got like it could have 5 commons, 1 uncommon, which will be 35% of the time. Then there's a different iteration of that happens 40% of the time, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more of a gamble, but you're gonna have more chances at rares, but those rares could be the great ones or they could be the ones that suck. So let's do a little bit of a deep dive into read a post from a guy named Lawler Toaster. He did a very good job at breaking it down in a very mathematical fashion, Josh. I mean,
I started reading it, and it's good math, but he does make some assumptions there to make it complete. We don't get all the numbers from Wizards. They don't put it out there, so we got to kind of do our best guesstimates. So this is a very good estimate on
what you're going to get.
Value, yeah.
And we'll put this in the description so that you can go check this out if you're super interested in his more elaborate version of this. Now,
it is long.
It is long. So let's go into the brass tacks of what is in Zendikar Rising Set booster display. So it's got 1 Zendikar Rising art card. Okay, if you're into those, great. But typically those things are not worth that much. 1 Zendikar Rising full art basic land. Oh, I love the Zendikar. We both love those, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely.
But buy them on the secondary market if that's what you're trying to get. It's got 6 Zendikar Rising thematically connected commons and uncommons. We will dig into what exactly that means in just a second. 1 Zendikar Rising head turning card. What? We'll also explain that. 2
I
Zendikar.
think the marketing department at Wizards may need a leash.
Yes, possibly. Yes. I think it's getting a little out of control, but that's a whole other episode. 2 Zendikar Rising wild card rarity cards. We'll explain in a moment. 1 Zendikar Rising rare or mythic card. We understand that. 1 Zendikar Rising guaranteed foil card. So basically, they're saying in every pack you're going to get a foil. Now that could be a junk common, or that could be the rare. We are used to that, right? Right. And then 1 token add card or card from the list. So let us explain what this is. And hey, Josh, if you don't mind, I'm going to do it because this is small lettering for you, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You're going through the list?
Yes, the list. So, you'll explain that in a second. So the Zendikar Rising set. The ones that are a little funky is this head turning slot. I'm just going to read it right off the page. This is straight from Mark Rosewater, and it says what this is. Now we've ventured into the first slot of the fireworks chapter. Okay. The goal of this chapter is to be splashing and exciting. You never quite know what might turn up here. Oh, please, marketing department, stop already. All right, slot 9 is always going to be a visually interesting card for Zendikar Rising Set boosters. That means you will get a common or uncommon that is either a showcase card or a card that's a cool element of the set that we haven't talked about yet. Oh, so basically they're saying, we have a secret. We're not going to tell you where it is. But they did basically say it's going to be a common or uncommon. Now, the wild card rarity slots 10 and 11 I thought this was a little different too. The rarity of each slot is independent, so you have the potential to get 2 mythic rares here. In fact, just under 1/4 of the time, you will open at least 2 rares or mythic rares just from the wild slots. We have yet another way to get an extra rare coming up. So, Josh, how is this all feeling to you? And then give us some examples of what's going to be on this list.
So, the specific list, the 300 cards are what's special about this is they are reprints with the same border style, the same border color, the same set symbol, the same collection number. The only difference on these reprints is that they have a planeswalker symbol in the bottom left-hand corner. So these look exactly like the original prints.
Which is interesting.
That planeswalker symbol. Yeah. Which is awesome because, like, if you missed out on Scroll Rack how many years ago, you can get one. And that comes with the Tempest set symbol. You know, if you want an Emrakul from Rise of the Eldrazi, that's being reprinted. Renin 6, but that's not that old.
And it is worth and it is worth noting that this slot where these 300 cards are going to be in, roughly.
It's the marketing card. It's replaced 1/4 of the time with a card from the list.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a likely pull for you.
Yeah, if you're chasing a specific card from the list, you're better off to just buy it on the secondary market individually.
Yeah, and the other thing to note, not that this is going to sway your opinion necessarily, you only get 30 packs instead of 36. Yes. So now let's discuss some apples to apples aspects to this, which is the cost. You know, if you're going to get a draft booster box, it's going to run you roughly $90 to $100 if you buy it from a store. You might be able to get it just slightly cheaper or a little bit more, just depending on your source. These set booster boxes are going to run you at minimum 140-ish to 50-ish. Yeah. So you can't really compare the two. If they cost the same, I would be leaning towards these set boxes. What do you think?
If they cost the same, absolutely. But then again, still at the $100 price point, if you're chasing one of those list cards like Angel's Grace or Training Grounds, you're better off just to buy it individually. But if you're trying to build your library as a player, you should just get the draft booster because you're going to get more cards to just hang out and play with your friends, maybe even, you know, introduce some new people to Magic and say, hey, I just built this deck real quick. You know, depends on what you're doing with these cards.
So it really boils down to a couple simple things. What kind of a player and collector are you? Are you the kind of person who you want to get a booster box and play with your friends and crack them, and that's the goal, and you're going to just accumulate cards? Or are you a collector where you typically gravitate towards Modern Horizons boxes and you gravitate towards collector boxes that they've been doing for the last handful of sets? So that really is a key.
Yep. If you go for the set box because you're a collector, good for you. You are an enthusiast. Raise your hand if you are also an enthusiast.
Yes, but also a player. So my opinion is go with the booster box. If you're just saying, hey, I'm willing to buy either, I just want to know which one I'm going to get more value out of, I personally think you're going to get more valuable out of the booster box. What do you think, Josh? What's your take?
Yeah, better value out of the booster box, but you know, if you're planning to play them, you want the draft booster box. But if you're in that special subset of people who want the foil alt art cards to play with and you have tons of money, go with the set booster box.
Everybody has limited amounts of money on some level, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning in. Be a friend of the gathering. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and check us out at the next episode.
We'll see you next time.
All right.